How can I read more? We all want to read more. We understand the benefits of reading, keeping your brain active, learning new things, gaining new perspectives, learning about your religion or learning about your field. And, it's an opportunity for you to get a full brain dump of an author who has spent so much time doing research and coming up with, these ideas and these topics and kind of putting it in a package for us. But what are some practical steps that we can take, especially if you're married, you have children, you have a job, you have all these other things going on, like myself? How can we find the time and what tips and tricks can we use to read more, right? Some of these might be, over the top. Others I think are very practical. To kind of begin with, I don't have a TV. So that really helps, right, when it comes to reading. So instead of having a TV, I have a big bookshelf. And, every night, instead of sitting down and watching TV, I have a book. And I usually keep books all around me, right? So I'll have books on my nightstand. I'll have books on the side table. I'll take a book to work with me. Wherever I go, I have a book. And a very practical tip that I would give is try to read more than one book at a time. We have this connection and this attachment to books that we think that when we pick up a book, we have to read it. We need to start treating books more like articles, right? Like a blog article. You go through it, you skim through what you need to get out of it. You don't have to read every single word of a book. And the other thing too is that you might not always want to be reading something serious. Maybe something is a history book and one is a self-improvement book. So, maybe on your nightstand you have a separate book, and the one that you keep downstairs is different. The one you have in your car is different. So I would read in accordance to what your what state you're in, right? Maybe at night you read a religious book, and during the day you read a more information book, and that you're actually highlighting with a pen. And actually, that's my other point is really start to own your books and get intimate with your books. I was always scared of writing my books, but I read this book called How to Read a Book. And really it talks about owning that book that you bought, writing in it, having a conversation with the author, having your questions, your comments, your critique, kind of writing and being very active. But obviously you can't be in that position all the time. And so maybe you have a particular schedule where you have that type of study. The other thing I would say to try to read more is to do bite-sized pieces, right? It's just like working out. Just like you work out your muscles. If you do too much at once, you're going to get sore. You're going to get, drawn away from it. But with reading, you have to kind of treat it the same way and build up your resistance. And so what I would say is start with one page. Okay. And what I mean by one page is not just one side of the book, but I mean both sides. So the left side and the right side. Read that and flip the page. A lot of times we don't want to stop in the middle of nowhere. So we feel like we're obliged to finish the chapter or to finish the section. But I've really been able to train myself to stop wherever I need to stop, right? And so I typically tell myself I'm at least going to read the left page and the right page. I flip the page, put the bookmark in, and I know that every time I open up the book, I'm going to start at the top left. And that really helps. So maybe the first day you just read the 1 or 2 pages. And you go from there. It's kind of like that one push-up thing, where if you're going to go down for a push-up just for one, might as well get 2 or 3 more push-ups in. And in that same way, once you get this habit of reading, you're going to be reading more and more, and you'll find yourself going from a few pages to 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 30 minutes. My special reading time really is going to be in 2 occasions. One is during transition, right? So if I'm waiting somewhere, I'm in the car, I have a little bit of time after lunch or before lunch, I'll read a few pages before I go to my next thing. When I'm in line, for example, or if I'm waiting for something, instead of scrolling on my phone, I have a book with me. And those are little chunks that I get throughout the day. They might add up to a few pages. But really my biggest chunk is before I go to sleep. Before I go to sleep, I make sure that before I turn the light off, that I read a few pages. And this really calms me down. This really puts me in focus, gets me set on one idea. I'm not scrolling endlessly. I mean, some nights I might, but I'm not, I'm trying to put away the phone and put away the streaming and put away the scrolling and just get some pages in. And what I found over these last few years, as I implemented these different tips and tricks, is that I've been able to read, a book or two a month. And I know that's not a lot, but I think that having a goal of one book per month really adds up. And you'll start to see your vocabulary improve. You'll start to see your brain working better, faster. You're able to comprehend a lot more in a short amount of time. You're able to talk to different people about different subjects and different ideas and connect it back to something that you've read. And I think that as Muslims, as readers, as whoever we are, reading is just one of those avenues that we can continue to be a student for the rest of our lives. So I hope that those tips were helpful. If you're a reader, let me know what your favorite book is in the comments, what books you think that I should read. Check out my other videos on books, my books recommendations, my bookshelf tours. And until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.